Hello guys, how are you doing? I hope you are all doing well and everything is fine with you. This is a quick video to just, let's say, analyze and have a quick overview of what is happening in the market, let's say, so far this week, and also what I'm expecting for the rest of the week. As I always like to start with economic calendar, so if we look at it, so Monday, yesterday, nothing big, only we had the ECB president was talking. Tuesday today, we had some news on the Australian dollar, and I believe the big news coming later today, as we can see at 4 p.m. Polish time, which is related to the consumer confidence, and this is definitely for the US dollar. Tomorrow we have a lot of news on the Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar, euro, and USD, and also GBP. So tomorrow is kind of like a busy day in the market fundamentally. And on Thursday we have some news. Okay, China, which is right. I mean, it's not related to us in the forex market so much, as anyway we don't trade anything related to the Chinese yuan. And definitely we have the OPEC meeting on Thursday, and that will have a big influence on oil, right? And we have also some news on the Canadian dollar, and definitely some news on the US dollar. And Friday we have news on the Canadian dollar and US dollar, right? So this is when it comes to the fundamentals. If we go to this chart, let's start with this one. So if we go to the weekly time frame, to be honest, nothing much happened since last week, right? Last week we had a doji candle. But what we can say is that this level, which is highlighted in yellow, as we can see, so the price so far here, resistance, 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 price broke above, came to retest as a support, but price broke below. And so far this candle from last week, it can be considered as a retest to this level, right? And maybe this week we will see price declining further. This is simply what we are kind of personally I'm expecting. Okay, if we look at this, so if you remember at the beginning of this week and end of last week, we had a FIBO. It was drawn there. And I said okay, price simply broke below this level, and so far it's expected to come to this level to retest as a resistance. And in the meantime, as we can see, is that we have the 78.6% of FIBO, right? And we could see that the price actually came close to this level, and from here started to simply decline further. What we can see here is that actually we are in a good way of the market structure. What I mean by that, we can see that here price lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, and actually with the daily candle of Monday, which is yesterday, we managed to do the lower low, right? The question is if we will continue the decline from here, or we will start some small retracement to simply, before continuing the move to the lower side, if any. This is the thing which we need to keep in mind. Okay, if we look at it from 4 hours time frame, right? So as we can see, still lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. Maybe, what I would say that maybe we can see the price. Okay, we can see the price as it created here, still to continue with the market structure. Okay, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. Maybe we can see the price from here to come and do the third touch of the trend line and also the lower high, which actually, if we look at it, this level so far, which is 103.750, it's actually the third touch of the trend line. That's number one. Number two is a 61.8 on the FIBO retracement, right? And also it will be third touch of the trend line. So actually this level is quite an interesting level to look or from here, that maybe we will see the price come to this area and then continue the move lower, if any, right, to this level. Or I would expect eventually that it will come to this level. Maybe because of the fundamentals this week, we will see such a move happening and then price continues a declining, if any, once again. Why all the time say if any? Because at the end of the day, it's all probabilities and we need to work on all different scenarios, right? So we need to be prepared for all scenarios and, like, work accordingly. So this is what we will be looking for the DXY. And definitely, as you know, that if the dollar index is getting strong, so then gold, euro USD, GBP USD, Australian dollar, US dollar, New Zealand dollar, US dollar is simply moving to the downside, and vice versa, right? So this is one thing which we need to keep in mind. If we look at this chart here, I would say that we still have some room to the downside, right? Like the price might come here, and this is actually aligning perfectly with this chart here. So if we look at this area here, right, this one, it's actually just as this arrow, which I would expect that the price eventually will come to retest this level, which is 100 to 50, as we can see in this chart. So this is something which, I'm keeping myself, let's say, open to this scenario. I'm kind of, evaluating it, and definitely I will update the guys in the community with any changes happening, right? If we look at this chart, let's go to the 4 hours time frame. So as I said, definitely we had we had our FIBO from here, right? And we can see that the price respecting the 50% and continued the move lower. And right now, maybe at least for the short term, right, the price might just come to retest this level and from here to continue the move lower, if any, right? But I would say definitely the smart move is to move with the trend. What I mean by that is to simply find any opportunity to sell the US dollar versus other currencies, right? So this is a smart move. In order to be able to capitalize on any small retracements, you have to be a very, experienced trader, and you have to have a very strict risk management in order to simply work in such moves. But once again, I would say first area to look at is definitely this area here, as you can see across the charts. So this level here, which I'm showing here, let me just, this level which I talked about here in this chart, right? It is this level here. Let me, here, it's this one here, right? So all this area on this chart, let me just show it here. So all this area might be an area of interest, which is a bit like, just above this one. But in general, I would say if the price will break above this area here, this one, okay, so then first stop we have this one, second stop and ultimate stop is this one, and yeah, later on maybe it would be this one. Yeah, so these are the three scenarios which we are simply looking at for the dollar index. Okay, let's check the 1 hour time frame. So if we look at it, so simply still once again price came here, respected the 61.8 retracement of the FIBO, the golden ratio, right? And so far price declining from here. Maybe once again we can see price coming to retest this one or this area. So what I mean that maybe the price will come here, start declining. That's scenario number one. Scenario number two, price will come to liquidate this area here, right? And maybe to come to this area and then to move to the downside. Or scenario number three, that the price will come maybe to this area somewhere here, right? And then from here to continue the move to the downside. What I mean by somewhere here, I mean maybe in specific like this area here. Why? Because we have a lot of, as we can see here, all this area is quite strong. Like we have resistance, support, 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 resistance, etc., right? So these are kind of like the three scenarios which I'm looking at for the DXY, DXY, the US dollar. For oil, let's start with these charts. Let's start with this one. Okay. So far, if we look actually on the weekly time frame, price didn't manage to simply break below, and here I'm talking about the body of the candle, not the wicks, right? The price didn't manage to break below the 75 per barrel, right? $75 per barrel, right? And so far, this level is holding strongly if we look at the weekly time frame. And obviously, as I always say, the higher the time frame, the stronger it is, right? So as we can see, 1, 2, 3, and so far 4. So the fourth candle, so far we have 3 weekly candles where simply the price didn't manage to close below the $75 per barrel. If we look on the daily time frame, situation definitely is a bit different, but this is kind of a bit interesting to me. Why? Because we always see such a big liquidation, such a big fake move happening, right, before any correction. What I mean by that? What I mean is, here we have this level, the 75, and we printed here support, right? And I can imagine that a lot of people seeing this, even going to the 4 hours time frame, right, this level, even if we look at the 4 hours time frame, I believe that seeing this one here, right, a lot of people, by seeing price action, okay, we started to see like higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, etc. So a lot of people started to simply buy, let's say, after second higher low, higher high, okay, and they started to put their stop loss below this one here, right? And they expecting the price to just move to the upside. But what happened is the price actually came with such bearish engulfing, right? This one collected all stop losses, right? So those people simply lost their positions here. And what they see that when they see such a bearish engulfing, according to all books and everything, it says like, okay, this strong level of support have been, let's say, breached strongly. So what they do is to come here and simply start to sell from the retest or simply from second candle or whatever. But most books will say, okay, you can sell after this bearish candle, or you can, I don't know, draw Fibonacci on this candle and, I don't know, sell from 61.8 or even let's say 78.6, which is kind of like matching the 75 level, and they say, okay, we are selling, right? But what happened is that the price again moved to the upside and collected their stop losses. So retail traders lost twice in such a move, right? And this is just happening and happening across all pairs. This is part of market psychology. And this is what I'm talking with the guys in the community a lot about, right? But at the end of the day, when we look at it right now, so we have support, price break below strongly, okay, which created this kind of fear of missing out on such an opportunity in the market. And then the next candle straight away, price simply came and corrected this move. So as I said, people lost here twice. And then as we can see so far, price is holding still strongly above the 75 point, the $75, right? So this is one thing to keep in mind. We need also to remind ourselves that this week we have the OPEC meeting, right? And this is definitely will be a big thing for the oil this week, right? And to be fully honest with you, I wouldn't expect any big movement happening on US oil until we simply have the news on Thursday, right? So, anyway, the community, we are lucky because yesterday we had an oil trade where simply we entered from here, right? That was our entry point here. And the price came to reject this level strongly and then started to decline. But then we could see that price is coming to the upside again. Our stop loss at break even. So anyway, we don't care about what will happen in this one, right? So price actually today morning came so close to our entry point and to our stop loss, which is at break even, but then, started to decline again. To be fully honest with you, I would say that maybe price at least will come to the 78.6%, right? And it will stop us at break even, and maybe price even will come here to liquidate this point before moving to the downside, if any. But I do not expect price to move to the downside before the news. The news will be simply like, the key thing for this week on oil, right? So anyway, for us, we are not going to touch oil this week at all. We have our trade, which was from yesterday. We are lucky we have our stop loss at break even, so we don't care about oil that much for this week. Gold. Let's start with this one. So on weekly time frame, we can see that the price so far playing around this area, which is like the 2000 area, right? Like here, I'm talking about all this gray area, which is like, starting from 2000 to 2015. And the price so far is just playing around this area. We need to keep in mind that this level is a very strong level and it's a psychological level, right? Every time you see the price coming to this level since August 2020, so like 3 years ago, every time the price coming to this level, we see a strong rejection and decline, right? As you can see, like here it was the first one, here it was second one, here so far the price also started like, to show some decline, right? Will it happen again? That's a good question. But also I believe Saxo Bank, it's a Danish bank if I'm not mistaken, was talking about kind of interesting study, or actually not a study, it's more like analysis of the market, that usually for the last, if I'm not mistaken, 4 or 5 years, that the price of gold is always rising in December, right? And they are saying, is it going to happen again this year, right? So if we look at the oil price in December, let's find December last year. So this is November, December. Okay, as we can see this candle here. So the price broke above this level, which is 1800, right? Let's look at the December before that. Okay, March, April, okay, February, December again in 2021. Price broke above the 1800. Okay, let's look again on December 2020. Price broke above the 1800, 1850 and reached the 1900, right? Let's look at December 2019. Again, price broke above the 1500. So it's kind of like, yeah, Saxo Bank has this kind of, how to say, point of view of the market, which is actually true. So do we expect that we also going to see strong bullish candle on gold for December. Let's see. Anyway, we are also lucky because since last week we were in this trade in the community where simply we entered from this level, right? And so far this trade is actually reached 6.5%, and it was a beautiful entry, right? Very beautiful. We actually entered this trade from here. We entered from here, and so far it's 6.5% profit. We closed 50% of this trade at 5.5% profit, and I am planning, like, if the price will come here to this area, we will close 25% of the remaining 50%, and then we will leave the rest just like running. Who knows, maybe, by end of December we will reach, I don't know, 2030 or whatever. Yeah, but anyway, it's a beautiful trade. We have our stop loss at break even. It was amazing entry. We just like had how many pips drawdown? We had we had like 6 pips drawdown. Yeah, and since then just like price took off, and it's really beautiful. What I would say that let's continue on this chart. If we go to the 4 hours time frame, so right now we can see that the price started from here, beautiful Fibonacci retracements, beautiful rejection. Okay, understanding that here this gray area is resistance, 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 resistance. Price broke above, came here to retest on the 4 hours time frame as a support. If we go to the daily time frame, we can see that the price simply broke above this level. But also it's very important to understand like this kind of moves, this kind of fake outs, right? But for us it was like, okay, we can see like this fake out, price continued again the move to the upside. Anyway, we are an uptrend, right? And then like we're waiting for this small wick fishing, and we were in this trade. So it's very beautiful, and as I said, like we will be still in this move. Maybe if we will look at another Fibonacci from here, maybe the price will come to retest this level before moving higher, if any, right? And what I'm looking for right now, if the price will break below this level here, okay, so let me just put it here, this level here, as we can see that the price, we have resistance, 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 price broke above, support, 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 support. If the price will break below, okay, we will wait for the retest, and then we will find a short-term sell trade, and from here we can enter another position as a buy before moving to the upside, right? So this is a situation which I'm looking, which I'm simply evaluating so far for gold, yeah, and this is what I'm looking for. Anyway, we were like, it was perfect entry for us, just entered from here, and we are moving to the upside. So this is what I'm looking for. Euro USD, let's go to this one.